There's only one force in the universe, and it's a force for good. It is all wealth and all power and all abundance, and it is all things everywhere. It is within me, around me, through me at all times, and I'm one with it. I am wealth. I am abundance. I am the true free use of my abundance, and I am the expression of abundance in the world today. This is all there is, because abundance is all there is and truth is all there is. And therefore, I affirm that I am these things now and always will be in greater measure every day. And I let this go for its complete expression now, and so it is.
She is Lorae Marsten, a transformational coach and mentor from Canada. Hi, Lorae. Welcome to our motivational talk.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Can you please tell us, how can we be visionary?
How can we be visionary? Wow. Well, I think it takes a whole mindset to be visionary. And for me, the word visionary has a special meaning. A vision is something that we create or that might come to us of a way that we can be or things that we can do perhaps, but it's mostly a state of being. And to be visionary, we have to be open to visions, and we have to be open to creating visions. Like there's outstanding examples of visions, like I woke up from a dream and I saw my future husband, or the prophets from the ancient books and things like that. That's a high level and very noticeable type of vision, but there's the bit by bit way to develop a vision for your whole life. And we have a whole bunch of aspects to our lives. We have our physical aspect, our health and where we want to live. And then there's a financial, and that includes what kind of work perhaps that we do. And then also the vision of how we would manage our money so that it serves us and that we're not a slave to money. And then there's relationships, intimate relationships with a partner, and then there's relationships with our children and the community, and relationships at work, and what they want, we would like, what's our vision for those to be like? What else is there's our spiritual life. What's our vision for who we are inside and why we're here? So those are 4 categories. There's probably more that we could go into, but I think that for most of us, we have to develop our vision for our life. And then as we grow, the vision can change.
How can we develop a vision in our life?
How do we develop it? Well, I'll give you a bunch of little ideas, if that's okay. I think number 1 is to realize that we need to have a vision. Like I actually had sort of visions when I was about 12 years old, and it set me on a path of always learning. And so that was given to me, but the rest was not given. I had to decide for myself to go for the vision. And one example in my life was I enjoyed my music lessons. I got piano lessons as a child, but then I was made to stop after a certain point, and I missed it. And so I actually waited till I was out of university and had a job, and then the vision was still there. And that's when I paid money for a piano, and I paid for my own lessons. And there were years where I practiced 3 hours a day. And I ended up being pretty good on the piano, and I ended up teaching piano for years. But that vision, it didn't, in that case, it didn't pop into my head as a child, I want to be a piano teacher. It was, I love this, and I'd like to be better, and I'd like to be better. And then the thing of me having to stop the lessons is a good example for all of us, because the road is not perfectly straight and smooth. And I think it's important for us to hang on to our visions. That's kind of back of what I'm talking about, because it is very, very easy for us to forget about our visions or come to believe that they're not right for us because of school. They say that this is important, and our families, they want you to have this kind of job, or they want you to hang out with this kind of people or do this kind of thing. And I had all of those things in my life. And I could so easily have ended up like some other people in my family who don't have the talents and skills that I have, and they don't have the many kinds of friends, and they haven't traveled the world that I have, but I stuck to what was my vision. Sometimes also, well, all the time, we have obstacles. And sometimes we don't even know what those obstacles are. But I think the first step is that we have to become the person who says, I'm worthy of a vision for my life, and I'm worthy of living the life that's true for me. And some of the ways that we can do that, one of them is to get a journal and write in it in the mornings. And especially the minute you wake up, you know, you're lying in bed and it's so comfy. Usually all the noise in our heads is gone by then. That's what sleep is for. It washes out the day before. Then you listen to that little idea and write it down before you forget. And if you keep doing that for a while, you'll get ideas, and you'll get better at noticing that little voice if you write down the ideas that come to you. And over time, you might be able to sit down and quiet yourself and meditate a bit and say, okay, I'm asking for ideas about my health, for example. How do I lose this weight, or how do I get in shape? You know, because I don't have money and I don't have time, but how am I going to do it anyway? And if you ask, you might not get an answer then, but if you ask every day, maybe you will, or someday you're in the shower and that perfect, oh, this is what I'm going to do comes. And then you listen to that. You don't wipe it out, because we are so much more than our rational minds, and we can get great ideas from the universe. So that's kind of it. Then the other thing is there's other tools out there. Like, can I talk about what I'm doing tomorrow? My workshop? Yeah, I'm putting on actually 2 vision board workshops, and a vision board is simply a visual tool of pictures of some of the things that you want to bring forward in your life. And it can be simple or it can be fancy, but going through the process of that is a way to remind yourself. And then, of course, if you throw it in the closet and forget, then that's not so useful. But if you put it somewhere, like I've been told to put it up on the ceiling, so as soon as you open your eyes in the morning, you can see the picture of what you want, and it reminds you. And then, you know, to have some skills, as in, okay, I will make myself say I'm going for that. I will make myself say I'm worthy of that, even on the days when you don't feel that way. Sometimes we have to work and say, okay, I love you, mind, and I'm grateful for you, and I'm in charge here, not you know, those thoughts that just come in our minds. We have to somehow learn to be the master of them and not listen. So those are a couple ideas.
Can you tell a little bit more about how can we create a vision board?
Okay. Well, I have a partially made one here. Would you like to look at it?
Yes,
I'll just bring it over. Now, I'm not proud of this in particular or anything. It's just what I have here. I started making it a while ago, and I was very interested. I don't know if you can see, like I'm interested in eating healthy. And so I have a bunch of pictures of food, but I took some off yesterday, and I'm going to put some other ones. And then I really would like a bigger house, so I started some pictures of a bigger house there. And I just put myself in the middle, kind of 2 sides of me. I've got the Buddha on one side, and then the gorgeous goddess on the other side, I guess. So they're just things that appeal to me. This is not a good example of a vision board. But some of the things that are good in there is that I have some words, and I'm just going to put it away. I've done studying since then, because most people just say, oh, you know, you just visualize what you want and put them up. And it's up to you, but I think it's probably best to decide on your categories. Okay, this is about my health, this is about my house, this is about my money, and then have them in neat categories and make them tidy. And you might want to print off the words that you want, instead of just getting them out of magazines, which are harder to do nowadays. There's less of them out there. But you can make a big font and print off on your computer, you know, health or whatever, wealth, or a saying that means something to you. I am strong and confident, something like that. Print it off and put it on there. So I'm saying that I think when I redo this, it's going to be a lot tidier. It's not going to be just a bunch of pictures here and there. It's going to be tidier, and I'm going to have words that stand out. It's going to look the way I like it to look, for sure.
Yeah.
But that way, when I look at it, it doesn't look like a mess. It's going to look like it's organized. And then I'm going to put it up where I can see it. And it's good to have a process when you're doing this. If you can first decide what you want it to look like and then go looking for the pictures. Nowadays, I've started in some of the categories of my life, I'm going online. If you go to Google, there's up at the top, it says images, and like they have millions and billions of pictures about everything. And the thing is, some of them, you don't want to put them on the internet because they belong to somebody. But if you're just going to print them off and put them on your vision board, that's okay, because no one but you will probably ever see them, okay? But it's just to be important that you can't download just any picture off Google or the internet and use it on your business card or something that you're going to publish in the public. But for vision boards, that's not a problem because they're just for us. You know, maybe your family will see them. There's another way you can make vision boards too, and that's online. Right now I'm experimenting with doing one with PowerPoint, and you can, if you know PowerPoint, it comes in slides, but you can put pictures on your slide, and you can put a title, so you could put whatever words you want. And I don't have it finished, but I was going to do a little one on joy, because I, of course, want more joy in my life. And there's a way on PowerPoint you can add a background. You can add it at the start, or you can add it afterwards and put it behind your pictures. But that works quite nice, and you can use any pictures off the internet for that. And there's another one that's there's two other ways that I know of that are online. And you can use Pinterest. And Pinterest is like a bulletin board that you pin these pictures on. And I think that that's a useful one because it's all neat and tidy, and then you can move them around, and you could do a separate board for different parts of your life, or just put, you know, the love ones here and the money ones there, and then you can change them as you want. It's something like that can be changed easily. And sometimes by the time we're done a vision board, some of these ideas aren't as full and aren't as correct as we thought at the start, because it really is a process unless you're already in the habit of just, you know, understanding yourself and what you want. The whole making a vision board helps you learn more about what your vision is, if that makes sense. And there's one more. There's actually some apps you can get. They're not as good. It's like you have to put one picture and then the next one and the next one. But you can, there are free apps, and you can have it on your phone that way too. So
it's quite interesting. You have put pictures of some like Buddha and some other arrows there. Can you show those pictures, and what is the connection of your vision with those pictures?
Oh, this again? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of there. You can see I put the Buddha beside me.
Yeah,
It's
Buddha,
just,
and there's one more picture below the board. Yeah.
oh,
On right corner.
okay. That is, I'm a yogi, and I'm also a Vedic astrologer. And those numbers are what we call a yantra.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
That's actually the yantra for Mercury. And Mercury is one of the planets that I need to have on my side more. And Mercury helps you with organizing money and organizing your life, and helps you be creative and things like that. So I put that there because I know my Mercury energy is not historically being as good as I would like. So that's part of my money section growing there. So for me, it means something. It probably would be useful for you too, even if you don't understand it. But I happen to understand it. And that's why I picked that one. And the Buddha, I'm not a Buddhist, but there are so many things about Buddhist consciousness was so high, and he didn't get mad at anybody, and he understood the bigger picture, and he was all about peace and loving kindness. And so at the time I was making the bulletin board, that was a good picture to show the kind of person I want to be inside. On the other person, like there's actual photo of me in the middle, and then on the other side I had a picture of this young girl, and I can't remember exactly why I put her there. I think it's because I want to still be a human being and have fun and do things in the world,
After
not just meditating.
after we make a vision board, how can we motivate ourselves to achieve everything which we have on that vision board? Like you have put money there, you have put
Yeah,
Buddha, you have put luxurious house, and so many things are there. How can we motivate ourselves to achieve those things?
that's really a good question. That's really a good question. And what I'm thinking is that we need to, in each of those areas of our life, then we need to get a plan. I actually took training in the science of mind philosophy. They're called the Centers for Spiritual Living these days, but it's a North American based bunch of churches based on New Thought, where everything starts in your mind, which is true, and what you think is what you become. And they had a famous saying, treat and move your feet. And treating was the name they gave to praying. So we would do a positive prayer. I'll do one for all of us right now for money, for wealth, okay? So I'll just do a quick prayer, and then we'll talk about the moving your feet. So treat is to pray and say what you want. And I'm going to just, as an example, this is a good way to pray. And you talk about it as if it's true and that you're one with all of that. So here's what I know. There's only one force in the universe, and it's a force for good. It is all wealth and all power and all abundance, and it is all things everywhere. It is within me, around me, through me at all times, and I'm one with it. I am wealth. I am abundance. I am the true free use of my abundance, and I am the expression of abundance in the world today. This is all there is, because abundance is all there is and truth is all there is. And therefore, I affirm that I am these things now and always will be in greater measure every day. And I let this go for its complete expression now, and so it is. So that's a prayer in the here and now, saying that I'm wealthy. Okay, so that's the treatment. Now we have to move our feet, and I think we need to get a plan for that. I'm divided. A lot of people with goal setting say you have to put a deadline or it doesn't work. And if you're the type of person who's not going to go in the right direction, yes, you should put a deadline perhaps. But perhaps you need to figure out what are some ways you can get from where you are to where you want to go. And some of our goals are fairly easy. Like I used to have a new car on there. Well, a new car is not such a big thing as long as you have a job. You know, you save some money, and so that plan is easy. But for some of the other ones, like how do you get from, for instance, an apartment to a big house? Well, that's a big jump. So you need to work on your consciousness in the meantime. You need every day to remind yourself that you're worthy of it, and tell yourself that it's here now, and you need to feel like it's real. That's the whole power of manifesting in the universe. It's our emotions and our feelings. So if we feel really wealthy, then other things that remind us of wealth will come to us. And so I think that should be part of it every day, that you affirm that you have these things and you spend some time imagining what it would be like. And I know that that's hard sometimes. And if you can't get to feel that, to feel really good about getting wealth, then you have to go with what does feel good for you and just appreciate the things that you have. Oh, I have this pretty plant on my windowsill. Oh, the sun is shining today. Oh, my friend called me last night. These are all things to feel good about. And then bit by bit, when you're feeling better, then you can visualize your bigger goals. Then I think, depending on the situation, maybe you need to take a course, maybe you need to read some books to learn more about what it is you want. If it's a house, maybe you should go to some open houses and see which ones really turn you on. It's so much better than a picture. For finances, there are workshops teaching you how to manage your money. And then, maybe you're going to have to look at other ways of making money. If supposing we didn't have COVID now, if you're working at Tim Hortons and you want a big house like that, you're going to have to get a second job probably, or win the lotto. But you know what? Only one person is going to win the lotto. So be open to many ways for wealth to come in and create that. Oh, and here's another good one. Start hanging around with people that have dreams and visions too. If you hang around with people that think small thoughts and are jealous or critical of people that have more than them, that will affect you. So find the most positive friends that you can. If you don't have friends like that, there's lots of webinars with people that are successful and encouraging. And I really encourage you to spend your time with people on YouTube and on webinars that are positive rather than spending your time with people that are negative and depressed. I actually have a 3 points that I really discovered in all my years of learning. And the number 1 point was that you have to think bigger, which is you need to have your visions. That's like the core of that I do. The second one is you have to find out what your blockages are. And there's one more. You might want to do some kind of healing work, like I do EFT, the tapping, if anybody's seen that. And it relaxes your nervous system so you can heal. Like maybe you're afraid to go for the big job because you're afraid you won't do it right. Well, something like that could help you with that. Or any kind of issues where your family said, oh, you can never do this. There are some healing modalities. That's one of them. I suppose hypnosis might be another. There are many out there, but you need probably to find what your blockages are if you don't know them already, and you need to find a way to go past them. Like for years I was going to do this, but I still haven't started. Well, what's the reason? There's got to be a reason if it's something you wanted to do. Find out what the blockage is, and then you can start right now. And the third point from my whole life's work really is to get support. So like I mentioned, the support of being around people that can support you, and better still, also some people that can teach you and lift you up, make you bigger and stronger and more capable and more confident in all areas of your life. Then your visions come towards you. So that's the three points in a nutshell for visioning.
Yeah, they are great points. And there are people who have already been in a circle of negative people, and they have not been able to recognize their own problem. How can they come out of that situation and create vision?
I think one of the best ways is for us to still treat them with compassion and be the examples. They say that so much has changed in the last 20 years in the world because now cell phones are everywhere. So even the kids in Africa can see all the things that we have in North America, and that has made them have a bigger vision. So I don't think we want to hide ourselves. Other than that, inviting them maybe to places you go that you find uplifting. Come along and see what you think of this. But you can't go to somebody and say, well, you've got this wrong and you need to get positive, because even if they want to, at that point they're not able to. So just exposing them to more positive, upbeat possibilities, I think is helpful. And we need to also know that as individuals, we're not responsible for the whole world. It's okay, you know, they'll come when they're ready, sort of thing as well. Just in case there's some people listening that feel they have to bring their whole family along. And in many cases, that would mean that you would just stay back with them. Sometimes you have to say, okay, that's them, and this is me, and I'll do my own thing.
How vision can motivate us to move ahead?
Well, if the vision has been formed wholeheartedly in such that you um, you really believe it and you really feel it and you really want it, like this thing for the house, it's funny, it's kind of coming true in its own strange way. But I used to have a house and now I live in a condo, a smaller place, and there's not very good parking here and it's not very big, you know, and so I keep visioning this house, and my friends would be coming over and I'd have all these spare bedrooms, and then I get feeling so good about it. And for me, the house has to be beautiful. So what I've discovered, since it's about a year since I started, you know, having hope that I could do that, because for a while, you know, life goes up and down sometimes. One thing I've done is I've painted all the walls in the main part of my condo. They're white now, and it feels much bigger. And I've realized I was able to throw out a lot of things that I had. It feels bigger. So I've done a whole bunch of little things and like, oh, this is pretty nice now. And so is it the big house on the hill with all the trees around? Not yet, but I'm closer to it, and people come over here and, oh, is this ever nice? So doing what you can to feel like you've got it and to make it as much as you can towards it is a step. That's what I've done with that. The actual cash to have it, this is not a good time for me to press on that one, but I'm laying the foundation for when the economy gets moving again. Who I will be and what I will offer and things like that. This is a great time to make plans and to set the foundations in place. That's what I think.
Many
Go
people
ahead.
believe that when they cross their young age, they think I'm getting old and there's nothing to start new. And you are still doing some great work. How do you manage your time, and how do you bring that energy to help people?
Well, I tell you, I have had times when I felt like, oh, it's too late, I've missed out. And I think one of the things, I'm going to first give you something that's pretty airy fairy, because you asked about the yantra and the astrology. This idea of feeling old and giving up comes from Saturn, the planet Saturn. So and we need to honor Saturn. Saturn is our greatest teacher, and he teaches us to be humble and to be kind and help handicapped people and all those things. I'm not putting Saturn down, but it does have this heavy energy. And people get more like that as they get older. So one of the things I've done for many years is I have done a lot of mantras and things to do with other parts of life, like love and beauty. And I still do that stuff. What the heck? You know, and I have a spiritual practice that brings those things in. The other thing is, and I just have to go like this. People look at me and say I'm old, and they assume all I want to do is retire. I've had a lot of friends that, you know, they're not open to new ideas. I just don't have so many friends anymore. And actually, these days during COVID, I have like two sets of friends. One set is very spiritual, and it doesn't matter how old they are because it's about spirituality. The other group, there's two girls about 30 and one guy that's 40, and we're a gang of four. So I have managed, and they forget that I'm old because I'm right in there. I've got new ideas. I'm looking up stuff on YouTube. And so I think you need to decide how old you're going to be. And this is a really good point. You know what? we're in a time, the advancements in science and in consciousness are such that it's probable if you really take care of your health, you can live as long as you want to. There is a guy called Dave Asprey. He's written a number of books, but the one I got my daughter to give me for Christmas is called Game Changers. And it's about how to live smarter, faster, longer, better. And there's a whole bunch of things we can do. I do, after my shower in the morning, most mornings, I turn it on cold. It's horrible. It shocks the body. But you know what? It does something for your immune system. It's one of the things you can do to live longer, you know. And then I do a whole bunch of things about what I eat.
All
And
right.
like I said, then I have to be really careful who I hang around with. And pretty well everyone my age, I have to just not be around them too long, because then they're, oh, well, at our age, we can't do that. And you know, you just have, you know, after you get old, you get arthritis. Well, there's some people that don't get arthritis. They don't eat the standard diet. You might have to do a lot of research and change a lot of habits, but you can change the outcome. It's proven. Our genes are not, you know, they can show a tendency to things, but we can change the outcome by our lifestyle and our beliefs. So that's my speech on that one.
Yeah, that's interesting. Can you share your lifestyle?
Probably 5 years ago, I'll start with what I eat. Actually, 30 years ago, I stopped eating beef and pork. And then about 10 years later, it was chicken. And now it's pretty much down to some fish sometimes. So that's a good start. And then the other part is lots of vegetables and some green vegetables. So 5 years ago, I started drinking green smoothies. And I trained myself to drink vegetable smoothies. My smoothies don't have fruit in them. I eat fruit too, but too much fruit will make you fat. You know, and yes, it's got all these things that are good for our health, but it's also got a lot of sugar. So I do that just about every day and have for many years. And I've always had an interest in health. I think because I wasn't maybe as naturally healthy, or it's my part of my path in life. I've been studying health since I was 20, so that's like 45 years. And so I know a lot about vitamins and things like that. But those are two things that you can do is cut back on the meat. I know a lady here in Calgary, she was blind at one point, and she went on a vegetarian diet. And I don't know exactly what vegetarian diet it was, but her sight came back. And I believe she had to be on dialysis for a while and got off of that. Anyway, there's miraculous things. You can definitely reverse type 2 diabetes with a healthy raw foods diet. And, you know, this takes a lot of effort, and it's not going to be approved of by your relatives who want to just watch TV and drink beer or whatever their thing is. So I watch what I eat. I'm not perfect. Especially when the restaurants were open, you know, it's fun to hang out with people and be with people. So you kind of have to eat what's there at the restaurant sometimes. But you know, that's a part of life too, is to have good friends and a good social life. So that was my balance. So I try to have a good social life as well. That's what I eat. Sleeping, I know is important. I'm still working on that. I'm someone who, my whole family always stayed up really late, but they do say an earlier bedtime is better. If you can sleep for an hour or two before midnight, that's the best time for rejuvenating your body. And then longer is better. 8 hours is good for us. So I'm working on that. I'm trying. What is it? Sleep, food, exercise is another one. And that changes as our job had a lot of walking in it. Most days I go for a walk, and I'm doing some yoga now. I used to do things that were more athletic, but then I injured my shoulders last fall. So staying home and resting my shoulders is part of it for right now, but I will do more as it goes. So it does take effort to take care of your body, especially in our society where sometimes we just sit a lot and there's some pollution and all these things. Although here in Western Canada, it's definitely better than in lots of other places.
What do you suggest to other people to live a better life?
Okay, well, some of the things that I've said, and I think that probably a good start would be this visioning process. And you could get a piece of paper and divide it into squares and then write down your goals in each of those areas. And then just keep studying on ways to make them come true. And one of the main questions you need to ask yourself is, who do I have to be for this to really happen? If you think that you're a shy little person who can never get past running the till or whatever your job is, then you have to change who you are so that you can attract bigger things. And then of course there's, you know, all the tips that I've given you, and there's a million books out and YouTubes to help you on that path.
Thank you, Lorae, for giving your valuable time and lots of ideas. I believe people will improve and learn a lot from you.
I hope so. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I'm glad to have met you, and I hope to see you around again. Thanks for
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.